So I suppose what drew me into counselling and psychotherapy was kind of something that happened over a long time. It was something around always being interested in the human condition, always being curious about what motivates us, what are things we enjoy, what are things we find difficult. And I think the changing point for me came when I had children, because I felt like I wanted to be a bit more intentional with my life. I wanted to understand a bit more about what made me tick, what made others tick, and just to have more meaning in my life as I became a role model for my children. And it was around that time that I came across the person-centred approach and Carl Rogers. And it felt like I'd come home. It felt like I'd found the sort of counselling modality that sat most comfortably with my own values system. To be honest, it was quite a relief, because it felt at that time as though all the sort of things that had been important to me, there was someone out there who kind of felt the same way. And what I started to find is that it became more of a philosophy, like a way I was leading my life, not just the way I was as a mum or the way I was at work. And so I started to get more interested in it, and that's how I ended up training to become a counsellor and a psychotherapist. And it just felt like a very natural progression. And the starting point, I think, for me is my lived experience, and that really is the essence of the person-centred approach. It starts with what is your experience, what's going on for you, and then as a result of that, you might be informed by theory, you might be informed by research, and it might sort of deepen your understanding. But for me, the most important part is, what is my experience? What's the experience of my clients? What's the experience of my students? What do I think I'm most hopeful about in terms of the next generation of counsellors and psychotherapists? I actually feel really optimistic and really hopeful. I think what I've noticed coming through in more recent cohorts of students and younger generations is their ability to challenge, their ability to not accept the status quo and to question everything. And that feels very exciting to me, because as a person-centred practitioner and educator, there's something very important for me about remaining curious and not standing by when you see things that need changing. And even if you're afraid when you do it, it's having the courage to still step up and do that. And I feel really hopeful that new generations of counsellors and psychotherapists will be able to rise to that challenge. The future hopefully will be made up of all those sorts of people.